Yo, welcome to another episode of the Bjj Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim, the MUSHMASTER Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball. No new Nico. Glad to be back. What's up with you, Tim?
Shit, nothing, man. Just same old thing, hustling, grinding, trying to make the dream happen. What's up with you, Nico? You're back from Brazil pretty quick.
Yo, we're gonna deflect that question. Oh man, so many issues, some problems with the trip, little setbacks, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So yes, I am still here. I was gonna try to act like, I was like looking over the outline. I was like, what is like time sensitive? Maybe they'll think that we filmed all of this last week before I left, but it is what it is. But yeah, Brazil still has to happen though.
It does, and it will happen.
It will. It will. And what about Atlanta, or not Atlanta, but what about Georgia? I know you had like a few updates. You know when you're dipping out.
Either the third or the fourth week of July. Those are the two dates that we're narrowing down. We're talking about money now. Ooh. Negotiations, you know how that goes. That's going to be a whole nother issue, I feel. I'm sending out the positive vibes. I'm lighting the sage. I'm sending out as many positive vibes out into the universe.
You know, those post-pandemic figures and stuff.
Hey, listen, I need to get my money.
You gotta get your value. You gotta get your worth, right?
I gotta get my worth, and if I'm not gonna get it, I'll just say peace. Because for me, I worked so hard and sacrificed so much, and I've earned every bit of respect and what the kids say nowadays, clout that I have. And I'm not going to shortchange myself if it means that I have to sacrifice a easy paycheck or a paycheck that's less than my worth. So be it. You know what I mean? And for all the guys coming after me, guys and gals, I want to make sure that they don't have to take shorts either, because if I'm a black belt world champion, if I've accomplished this much, and if I get shorted, then I accept it. That makes me a scab, and it makes it worse for the people behind me, I'm trying to make it so later on down the road, other people can get more than I have, and that's the goal. And when I see in other sports that players from a previous generation get upset about how much guys make now, I'm like, listen, you should be happy for them. If anything, you should feel as though you accomplished a lot, because that's the only way we're going to pay it forward. We talked about this last couple episodes about knowing your worth. So I'm just on the waiting list. I'm just waiting.
So as you did negotiate price, are you also like factoring in like how often or how many classes you're going to have to take? Like, do you have any idea about that kind of information yet? Or
what I've been talking about is the dates, how much it's going to cost for the actual event that I'm performing at, and transportation.
Oh, so is it like a seminar? I thought you were going to be down there for a while teaching.
I would like to be down there for a little while because it'll give me more of an opportunity to teach private lessons. It'll be a better opportunity for me to network, but it's all based around one event, one seminar on post at one of the military bases down there.
Gotcha.
That's what I've been focusing on. And everything else on the side of it, that's just bonus to me. And if I can make a relationship down there, I can perform well. It can be a long-term relationship where I can continue to come back there. And with all the other services I provide, I can have virtual coaching students as well. What's so funny?
It's just the way you phrased that. You said if I perform well, I can maybe develop a long-term relationship. It really just goes to speak that, like, yeah, you out here trying to, like, it's really hard. You really have to know how to market yourself or pimp yourself out as an athlete. And it, like, building relationships, and that's, like, that's a thing that some people don't understand, like having one opportunity to do like one seminar or a series of privates, and like having that build into, a more substantial stream of income over time.
That's where the money is, repeat customers. And what I started to learn, well, I've always known, is that This is the luxury service that I provide, whether I like to admit it or not.
Yeah, you're not cheap. You're not cheap, and it's very true. You're very detailed. Like, for the Patreon members that are seeing the techniques, like Tim was doing like a whole bunch of techniques from turtle, like chokes from turtle, clock chokes from turtle, where you have to like get on top of the person and roll over them. And if you're a Patreon, you'll know that I've been the Uki, and like we're sitting down and like on opposite side of the couches, but like yo, Tim's a lot bigger than me, and like he very easily like that day came in, he was like, all right, I have to do this on you, and like he had to kind of change everything that he was teaching to adjust to the fact that I was so small, and he made it look very easy. But like if you're like a blue belt or a white belt, like you don't respect it because you don't realize how hard it is to do what he was doing without actually hurting me or like crushing me and things like that. So like you are very good at explaining what you do and like adapting your teaching style or how you teach, which is really cool.
Yes. And speaking of that, Tim Spriggs BJJ is almost completed. I'm sorry, timspriggsbjj.com is almost completed. For years, I had a janky website, but I would like to give a shout out to Federico Cali and all the guys at his facility. Federico Cali was able to help relaunch my website. He's going to be a sponsor for the show. I'm going to continue to shout him out. If you're interested in his services, if you're a up and coming grappler, if you are a business owner and you want to optimize your website, talk to him because I'm very excited for it because it's part of my process of monetizing my skills and making it more accessible to people. I offer virtual coaching. So an example of that would be what I teach these techniques on the Patreon at patreon.com/Bjj Goons. But I also do flowcharts. I do BJJ flowcharts for people. And what that entails is, like you said, a lot of detail. I watch your footage. I look at the techniques and positions that you are most successful in, and I make a flow chart of it from the beginning of the match, how you start, to your best positions, to your best attacks, how they chain together, because everything is a system. So you want to have a chain of attack where your opponent can't get out, and if they do get out, you're back into your primary guards or positions. And I think that Federico did a phenomenal job of helping me with the process. And because of that detail, what I give, going back to what you said, I know my worth. And that's what I've been focusing on.
Very dope. Very
Hmm.
dope. So, do you know or will you share with us like what platform are you using like with your website now? Because like I've gone through so many and I've built so many, and like websites can be a real pain in the ass.
I'm using WordPress. I'm using WordPress because of all the plugins that I have
Have
that
you
I
ever
can
used it
use.
before?
Yeah, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was I was moving slow. I was a simpleton. I still am a simpleton with technology. I understand the concepts, but over the last 2 months, 8 weeks, almost 12 weeks, that I've focused on the professional side of things, I learned that I don't know very much. And I learned that I have to talk to people and learn from other people and implement it
Or pay
immediately.
people.
Or pay people,
Or pay
yes.
people.
Or pay people to implement it. So I didn't know what I was doing with the WordPress site.
So did you try to build a WordPress site by yourself?
I've tried WordPress. I've tried Wix. They tried to auto renew on me, and I had to go to my bank and be like, "Yo, this is number one. This is more than
Because you had that like a merchant sale thing, which is like at least 250. Like if you
yeah,
have the store, yeah, Wix could be cheap. Wix is definitely affordable. Today, Kids Project is still on Wix, but oh man, I got Shopify, WordPress, like Master Lord build WordPress site that I could not understand. I'm on WordPress now, but I had to pay a lot of money for somebody to build it, and
hmm
they do all of the maintenance. I just do the posts and like add products.
yeah.
It's so
Federico.
confusing.
Federico is a blessing. You know, you got to have a lot of people that bless you with knowledge,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's just building a website is hard, and then the marketing is such, and then figuring out what widget that you want to get lead generation, all that stuff. I mean, you guys listen to probably what the hell are they talking about? But yeah,
Who knows?
it's been one of those
When was the last
time.
time you actually used your mailing list?
When's the last time? Years, years, but because I'm in the groove and we have the studio here, it's much easier. I have a stockpile of footage and it's going to be easier for me to do. And now I actually have something to give people. I have my virtual coaching, I have my private lessons, I have the seminars. Before I was just, well, I guess I'll get a private lesson out of these people. I don't know. But now it's
I mean,
a plan.
it's like, do you know what you want to sell? You also have to have a product to sell. That's a big
Yes.
thing. Like people always out there like trying to get money. It's like, but for what? Like, just because you win gold medalists, like what value can you add? Like, I saw it. I don't know what language it was. It might have been in Portuguese. I think it was in Portuguese. Or they were asking us like, can every black belt or is every like champion a good teacher? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was lucky that when I was growing up, my mom forced me to learn public speaking. She put me in theater. So at an early age, I had to learn how to speak in front of large crowds of people and remember stuff.
Oh, I used to really like theater.
Yeah, and then I have really great instructors. I have Master Lloyd, I have Julius Park, I have Ty Ryan Murphy, and that's the holy trinity to me as far as coaching is concerned. And I was lucked out, man. So that's what's new with me. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of professional grappling. This past week, we had Who's Number One, headlined by Craig Jones and Ty Ruotolo. I watched all the big matches from there, all the major ones, and I have a lot of insights. I was doing a lot of studying. But Nico, what did you think about the card? What did you think about what you saw out there?
Man, I had no time to watch that card. I was like supposed to be going to Brazil, like flipping
Oh,
out.
I
So
liked it.
yeah, tell me about the highlights of the card and which I missed while I was trying to get to the airport back and forth. What a hell of a weekend.
Okay, let me start with I have notes here. I came prepared. I'm excited to talk about this. And today I put on my Instagram because Nico, a running gag we have on the show is that you don't know much about sports.
Yep.
And a few months ago we talked about the Malice in the Palace where the NBA players went into the crowd and beat up a bunch of fans that were throwing stuff at them. And the match between Hassan Rita and Miha Perhavec. Oh man, that's like yeah. If I
Yeah, no,
butchered y'all's names, I apologize. But this match was the jiu-jitsu version of the Malice in the Palace. It was like Hassan Rita was Ron Artest, and Miha was one of those fans that was caught in the crossfire. Hassan was aggressive, technical, and had timely transitions, and he had the second fastest submission in Who's Number One history. That is a record time, and I'm thoroughly impressed. This guy is he was supposed to fight Keenan, but I guess Keenan set his proxy out there to get the smoke, and boy, did he get a lot of smoke.
All right, so then give the spoiler though. What was his submission? What submission did he land?
I'm going to read off the transition, okay? They were in standing. He did a back take attempt. Dude went to the ground. Knee cut attempt. Guy sits up to stop the knee cut, like in the sitting guard. Then Rita goes for a rolling Kimura from the top and ends up with an armbar from guard. Just bodied that dude. I am
Like
impressed every time I see that guy, Hassan. Every time I see him go out there, he improves. He competes a lot. He's a beast. Just looking at him, it's like, man, he's from Ghana, I believe, correct? You have your phone out. So I'm thinking, I believe he's from Ghana. And I'm like, man, brothers is from Africa taking over MMA, and they can take over jiu-jitsu just from his physical gifts. But
36 seconds, man.
36 seconds. And he has a bright future. He's very game. He does gi and no gi. He just improves. And the way he just goes for the kill, it's beautiful jiu-jitsu. He's not trying to advantage you to death. He's trying to submit you to death. And that's beautiful.
He's trying to submit you to death. Yeah, he's definitely coming for you.
Andrew Wiltsey versus Gabriel Almeida. That was a great match. And what I took from that match was takedowns matter. everybody watching, takedowns matter. It was towards the end of the match, and it was even. And on the screen, they said it was Gabriel Almeida's advantage in the ref's eyes. He goes for a takedown. He gets it. Guard pass, mount, back take, rear naked choke.
Damn, all off the takedown.
Yes, it was just an avalanche. Wiltse is very good conditioning. Looking at the Daisy Fresh documentary, say what you want about their cleanliness and what happened.
You said a lot about it. You said a lot.
Those guys train hard.
Incessantly.
And yes, they don't
for
stop.
Better or for worse, incessantly.
Yes. It's kind of like old school Cicero Costa. I don't know how Cicero Costa is now.
It's old school anything Brazil. Like, that's how they train in Brazil. No words. They don't have words for you.
No words. They just go for the kill, and that type of training helps in matches like that. Because the whole time, even though he was down in the judge's eyes, he was always dangerous. And it looked like he wasn't ready to sit on his laurels and just pack it in. He's like, no, I'm going to finish you, or I'm going to make it hard. You have to kill me. And that's what jiu-jitsu is all about. You got to kill him. And Andrew Wiltse is hard to kill. Next, Cade Ruotolo versus Cole Franson. Cade overwhelmed Cole with a lot of aggressive passing. I say this all the time. In jiu-jitsu, it's like question and answer. If I ask a bunch of questions, you have to try to answer them and come up with a question to ask me. But if I just hit you with question after question after question, and I make you pay for the answer you give me, or you give me the wrong answer, eventually it's game over.
Yeah, he led the conversation.
Yes, he led the conversation. He was just guiding him down that straight line to submission. He goes for a guillotine from the top. Cole Franson lands on top and passes the guard, but when you pass a Ruotolo's guard, you're not safe.
That's the thing. They're so young. They have a lot of energy. Like, they never stop. Like, so, yeah, you have to be able to stabilize the position and go for a submission before they're gone again.
They have such a wide array of jiu-jitsu skills from top, bottom, and standing that they're able to come up with stuff such as, I think it's called the buggy choke. I'm stealing that. If I ever get in a jam, I'm stealing that, because although I'm a big guy, I was like them when I was their age. I was tall and lanky, and I can still do that lanky stuff. I think Cade let him pass on purpose, and he finished him. That is a money move. That is a part of their game plan. It's not no desperation stuff. If you pass their guard, they will try to get you with it. And if you fall behind in the sequence, it's a wrap. Because if you try to separate and create space, you're assisting them in getting to their guard, and they have a phenomenal guard. Real Tolos, man. You heard it here first.
If you were to attack a Ruotolo, where's the best place? Do you think where's their weakness?
In the parking lot. They're not looking. I'm not playing, because as I saw in the match between Ty Ruotolo and Craig Jones, there's no weakness in these guys. There's no weakness. There's no gaping hole. It's like you have to be on your A game, and have to be able to answer the questions that they ask you, and be able to keep the game in your flow chart. You got to keep them in your flow, because if you don't, and you're in their game, they know too much. They're too young and athletic. They're super smart. They have great coaches in their corner, and they probably know more jiu-jitsu than you. And they're just as game as you. And it's even, man, that's a lot to deal with. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about someone else who has a plethora of understanding, has been doing jiu-jitsu for such a long time. Mikey Musumeci, and he was going against Juni Ocasio. The way he chained those ankle lock attempts from De La Riva, which you kind of see the influence of the guys that he came up with, he trained with, you know. You see the Bruno Malfacini. In the case of the De La Riva ankle lock, you see the Caio Terra influence. And then you see his new bag of tricks, his leg lock entanglements. He had Juni in the Matrix. He had Brother Man in the Matrix the whole time. And Junie is no slouch. The guy is dangerous. He's a no-gi specialist. I don't think I've ever seen him do gi. He's in the Unity program. He's with Unity, so I'm pretty sure he does gi. But I seen him do predominantly no gi. And we were saying this not too long ago about how I believe gi is king because you can translate gi to no gi much easier. If you're world class in a sport, it's easier for you to do another sport, especially in jiu-jitsu. And you saw that with Mikey Musumeci. He attacked the entire time. Like I said, when you ask all the questions, they have to find an answer. But
Very true.
if I already know the answer to all the questions, I can get you on the next question. If I know that your reaction to my action is what it's going to be, or I can narrow it down to 2 or 3 things, that's the whole principle of my flow charts. I'm already better at that stuff than you are. And you're behind. In that rule set, if I'm attacking and you're defending and you have to defend, and then just for you to get into a neutral position with me and I'm already ahead and I'm ahead, so I know what neutral position we're going to go to, and I'm going to attack you again and I'm better in that position than you, you're screwed. You're screwed.
You just get so excited about it too, you know.
But that's just how
It's
how I view jiu-jitsu, and it's the simplest way to put it.
That's the beautiful thing of it, you know, like when you break it down where somebody really can't do anything about it, you know, it's very exhausting for the person on the other end too. Like you're like physically being beat and you're mentally being beat because you realize like you can't do anything. Like
it's like with May.
It's horrible.
It's like with May, but and May is like a less technical version of that because he's just so physically gifted, and he's just a savage. So it's like you get emotional because you're like, damn, not only is this guy just super good, he's on my level, but he's manhandling me and I'm behind. Like, there's no coming back. Now let's go to Craig Jones versus Tai Ruotolo. I said it before. Was I not correct when I said that Craig Jones, the first time they fight, he'll probably win, but Tai Ruotolo will be on his bumper? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I also said that you better get him this time because in the future, it's not going to be as easy.
Grown.
He's going to be a man. He's all
that grown man
to me,
strength.
he's a man. If I said the only way to beat him is in the parking lot when he's not looking, he's a man to me. He's a grown-ass man. But you got to get him now. Craig Jones did that. I'll give Craig Jones his credit. He beat Tai Ruotolo fair and square. But I will say this. The experience and the size advantage is what pushed him through. Technical note. Craig Jones loves that overhook, kind of Uchimata hip toss into reaching with the free leg, with his free hand to pull into the saddle. And he almost caught Tai with it, but Tai was watching film. He had to have, because when he got in that entanglement, he wasn't tripping. And even though he's young, he was prepared. He's young, and he's like, yeah, he could probably twist my knee, and like he might be able to stretch my ACL, but I can take it. He didn't do that. He like planted his foot on the ground, took his time, was relaxed, and made it difficult for Craig Jones to try to finish. Craig Jones did a good job passing the guard. He did. And I could tell because it was the pressure, right? And I think in his mind, Craig Jones was like, okay, he's smaller than me, so I can pressure pass him, and it's going to be easy from here on out. And it wasn't easy from here on out because Tai Ruotolo is game.
He's always pressing back.
He's always pushing back. You know how I say there's a bitch button? Everyone has a bitch button. It's just how long it takes you to get to it.
No, bitch button, is that where you hit it and you convert into a bitch, or
no? So if I have a match with a guy, and in my mind I say to the other guys on the team, I'm like, this guy has an easily accessible bitch button. He's gonna come at me, I'm gonna go at him, but after that first exchange, you see the bitch button, and all you gotta do is do a little something, press it, he's a bitch now.
Okay.
Tai Ruotolo has yet to show his bitch button because he got his guard passed a couple times, but then he was able to come back, and then he was counterattacking. And towards the end of the match, it looked like Craig Jones ran out of gas and ran out of answers. I saw on Tai Ruotolo's Instagram that Craig Jones has said he kind of took it easy on him, and I was having a little chat with my brother Ty, not Ty Russo, Ty Ryan Murphy, the other Ty, my Ty Ryan Murphy, and he said, Craig Jones tends to compete at the level of his competition, and most of the time I would agree with Ty on things like that, but nah, it didn't look like that. It looked like about halfway through the match, if I'm training with Muhammad all practice, right, and I got one of the young cats out there, right, one of the young dudes that's smaller than me, and I'm like, listen, I'm tired, and this guy is hungry, he is on my bumper, and he's got tricks up his sleeve. I just need to survive. I got to pull out every little trick. I got to pull out every little bit of weight. I got to stall out the time to slow him down, because if I don't, he's going to finish me. That's what the match looked like towards the end. And Tyro Tola had a nice leg lock entry that looked kind of close. And what was beautiful about the match in my eyes was how over the course of it, you saw the wheels turning in Tyro Tolo's mind. He is kind of like a computer, like in chess, where they have those supercomputers where like you do a move and he logs it in his mind. It's like, okay, I'm calculating it. It could be that he was studying film, but his attacks became more like, okay, I moved this piece here, I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to give him something else. Or I'm going to make it look like I'm moving this piece here, but I'm actually going over here. And that is the beauty of having a young guy that's had the experience they had. Think about it. They were on Checkmat first. And back in the day, I don't think you were deep in the jiu-jitsu game, but Checkmat had this kids team that was phenomenal. Then they went to ALJ.
I wouldn't know in the U.S., but I know in like Brazil, because we were talking about teams, like Checkmat was a major competition team in Brazil, and they had like a social project in the Muro.
Yeah. So they were here in the States, they Checkmat, then ALJ, and then they went to Atos. All that experience, and they're creative. They have beautiful jiu-jitsu. They love the game. It's like what's going on in basketball now, where all the old guard of the teams with all the superstars that are already established are pretty much gone. They're not in the playoff. They're not in the playoffs no more. It's like, okay, this is the next generation. These are the young cats. This is what the game is now. Beat them while you still can, because they're coming.
And that's how I've always felt, like training in Brazil, because you get to see a lot of the kids, because like they have like the Gomez brothers, like Jonathan and Jansen. Like I met when they were really young. They're on Checkmat and they train with like Finfo and Alan Rico. Like they go to the U.S., they go to England, and they train with these adults. Like since they were kids, on top of their father, who's a black belt. There's just like a ton of them. And like even Moicano from Terere Kids Project, we always used to joke around. And it's like he was like 14, 13 when he met him. He's like, yeah, you gotta fuck him up now, because like he's too good. Like he was too good at that age. So you imagine just like all these kids that have just been doing it so long. They're young, they're healthy, they're technical, and they have that experience, whether they like really acknowledge the fact or study it. They have years and years of just like experience going to training, learning new things, and absorbing it. They're killers.
And another aspect of it, and I kind of take it back to what we were talking about before, as far as paying it forward, as far as paving the way for the next generation, they grew up thinking and having a realistic idea that you can make this a career as a competitor and as a businessman. Like a legitimate...
Wait, who has a realistic idea that this could be a business, man?
It can be. For them, they came up with the Mendez brothers. They have the ALG.
For them maybe. Okay, I thought you meant like kids in general. I was like, yo,
no.
Shaky
I'm talking about for them.
Okay, we're back to
the Jitsu kids in the grind, like in the cut, like they're living it. They're in the culture. Like they're like, okay, you can do this, and you don't have to quit and do MMA. When I was coming up, it was like, you're going to do jiu-jitsu for a little while, but bro, you're going to have to do MMA if you want to be an athlete.
Punch,
you got to get punched in the face and stuff. But these guys are like, oh, okay. So now I can do this, and now let's go hard with it. And they're the next ones to go. I'm just, I know y'all saying I'm fanboying, but game respects game. Game respects game. You can call me a D-rider all you want, but listen, I know what it's like to come up, and I know how hard it was for me, but I've seen these guys since they were kids tearing it up, and I'm impressed. Beat them while you still can, folks.
Man, yeah.
And one last thing I want to say. about that. Listen,
If they get assaulted in a parking lot and we get charged, I just want to make sure
it wasn't
like,
me,
we're
yo.
not
It
actual
wasn't
a legal
me.
partnership. So y'all need to no.
Hey man, listen,
I'll swing for you, but if we like take
bro,
charges
listen,
in
I'm just
court,
happy there's other.
like...
I'm just happy to see there's other people of color, young people of color doing the sport and putting on and being a role model. I will not fight them in the parking lot because there's two of them, and I don't. No, I'm not gonna be like Chris Tucker, be like, which one of y'all hit me? Nope, that's not gonna happen.
It's funny because I have friends that I go hang out with when I'm like stressed out and I just need to chill on the couch, and they love to explore like different YouTube things. So there's like there's a lot of videos of people fighting, families in particular, fighting in parking lots.
Wow.
Walmart. Super ghetto. Like getting police involved. Like police have gone down in the ground in these Walmart parking lot fights, and it's wild. But I bring that up because we're transitioning to the end of this show. We're just gonna talk about like some sleazy Facebook antics and whatnot, you know.
Are we talking about the overhook arm wrench for around the world? Orlando Sanchez?
Orlando Sanchez. I actually, we can mess around and try to show you guys. If you guys are watching the video, we're going to show you a quick clip of the video. You want to show the clip first? You want to give like an
Let's show the
what
video.
happened? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We only talk about it. How the fuck is it dirty? You talk all that shit telling us I don't belong here? And then you fucking get mad because I hit a quick little submission?
Instagram.
You try to hurt me different shit. Oh, come on.
Okay, so Orlando Sanchez.
Come on, motherfucker.
Boom.
The fuck? Why, bro? Why? Whoa. Why? Get away from me, bro. Get away. Bro, what the fuck, man?
Sanchez is the ADCC
Why,
champion. This guy is a beast. He's about
You sitting there, bro. You fucking know what you did.
300 plus pounds.
You know what you fucking did. Did what? What'd I do? You know what you did. What'd I do? Did you see that shit? Did you see that shit? No, you're a fucking bitch, dude.
A MMA fighter, I believe he's in the UFC directly against
No, dude, it was a fucking dick move, dude.
Fight, and that was the issue. So he was training for. He was in the middle of a fight camp, I guess.
Okay. Just from watching the video, Nico, what are your thoughts? Without any background information, just looking at the technique and Sean's reaction, what are your thoughts?
I mean, what Orlando did, it's like, yeah, that's. I mean, don't let somebody get the underhook on you. When somebody does like even tweak you and almost hurt you in training, whether it's intentional or unintentional, or like you don't respond with a spinning back fist and a T kick. Like that was very aggressive reaction. And then when you find out like the follow-up story, like that he had been running his mouth, and it's like that was real bitch move way to respond if you were gonna talk all that shit and then respond that way.
All right, let me give you my thoughts and then we can wrap.
Wait, I don't think I've heard this. I love when Tim's got this look on his face. If you're not watching,
What look on my
Tim's
face?
got this. No, you just got this look like this is gonna be interesting, and I haven't heard it. Like sometimes we talk about this stuff before, but like this seems like it's gonna be interesting.
Okay. First and foremost, these are two grown ass men.
Huge.
All right. I say this all the time. No matter what happens, at the end of the day, you signed the waiver. When you're sparring or you're rolling with somebody, you have to understand that there is a chance you will get hurt. Now, the actual technique of the arm wrench, I don't know the proper term, but I just call it like the overhook arm bar where you just wrench it from the feet. The John Jones special. Doing that move to someone is not dirty. No submission is really dirty in jiu-jitsu.
Says the MUSHMASTER.
Okay. That guy should... I'm going to go back to that. Unless you're doing this move that Master Lloyd showed me and Muhammad and some of the guys in the room, that I will never do to somebody. But besides that technique, and you guys know who are watching, you know what technique I'm talking about. It's not dirty. If Orlando Sanchez, a guy that has been training martial arts for over a decade, wanted to break Shane Strickland's arm, he would be in a cast right now. He was being nice to him. You see the little pop? It was just to let him know.
It was a love
tap. That's a little love tap.
It was like, hey,
let's let him know that he's there. Because to really finish it, he would have pulled his arm all the way across to the other side, Orlando would have janked his arm all the way up and would have snapped his arm like a twig.
Off.
Snapped it off.
Oh.
It's just a little love tap. Shane Strickland was just scared, and he was in his feelings.
You know, because apparently, did you see the backstory or hear any?
Yes. Can I get to that?
Okay.
No. I'm not being.
I thought you were done. Go ahead. No, keep going.
Okay, so
like I said,
let's go back. You said like nothing's
he said
dirty.
It would come off, all the way off. Point 1.
Okay. The backstory. According to Orlando, he said that Shane Strickland was talking trash, hellified trash, saying like, doing the jerk off motion, like, this is what I think about your black belt in jiu-jitsu and your grappling. It doesn't matter how much grappling you know or what world titles you won. I'm still going to fuck you up. And if they were training partners before this, I would be like, okay, because DJ talks trash to me all the time.
Yeah, like if they knew each other.
If that's how we play around, that's how we play around. Now, sometimes DJ will catch me off on a bad day, and I'm like...
And impale you?
Pause. No. But he'll catch me on a bad day, but I'm not... Even then, I won't go that length, where like I'm like giving a little love tap, like let him know. Now, I might smother him. I might make him feel real tired, but I'm not going to do that. But they're not teammates. They're not friends. They barely know each other. And Sean Strickland wanted to be all disrespectful. He probably thought, oh, I'm a big bad MMA fighter. These jiu-jitsu guys aren't tough. I'm going to just run my mouth.
You know, and that goes directly against rule number 3 that I have, which is shut the fuck up. And then his actions when he got twerk goes against rule number 4, which is fix your fucking face. You don't retaliate like that. You calmly, you coolly handle your business.
And the funny part is Orlando low-key blocked that stuff.
And then went after him. Like you saw in the video. Like he's just like a big teddy bear,
like,
tatted
come
up.
on,
like,
bro.
what happened,
It's grappling. Obviously, Sean Strickland, he obviously doesn't know enough grappling because he didn't know Orlando was, and he didn't know that wasn't a dirty technique. And to be honest, if he had broke his stuff, he would have deserved it. But Orlando was being respectful because he's a martial artist. He's not some fighter. And there's a difference between a martial arts ethic and a fighter's ethic. He was being gracious. He was being respectful. And low-key, Orlando, that's Ruka Gym. Orlando's been down with Ruka for way longer than I think Sean Strickland has. It was very disrespectful on Sean. I think he's out of pocket. I don't think it was dirty. And like you said before, oh, you mushed somebody. You know the similarities between Sean Strickland and the guy that I mushed? They both were talking shit, running their mouth, being disrespectful. If I don't know you like that, you don't talk to me that kind of way. And let this be a lesson for anybody that visits academies.
Your mouth.
Listen, be respectful, follow the rules of the gym. Understand that you might get your ass beat just for being a guest, because that's how some hardcore schools are. But I don't think
like that sometimes.
Orlando was in the right. Okay, it wasn't dirty. It was a love tap. If he wanted to break his arm, he would have done so. That's how I feel. And if you disagree, fine. Oh yeah, one last thing. Stop getting an underhook and being lazy with your arms.
People are lazy with their arms, whether it's in an underhook, whether they got, even with a grip, they'll be lazy. They'll be lazy all the time with their hands and their hooks. Stop being lazy with your hands and your hooks.
Bro, like Sean Strickland, man. He's just crying, just screaming like, help! And then he punched him. He's probably like, he should never put his hands on me. Well, listen, Nico, that's all I got to say about the topics for today, man. This has been a good episode.
All right. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave your comments on the YouTube channel, the Patreon, the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, wherever it is, anywhere and everywhere except my DMs, unless it has to deal with money.
5-star reviews. Listen, y'all need to start making the likes look like the viewers, okay? There's no reason why, if you sat and watched it, because I look at the analytics, y'all be sitting and watching a long part of these episodes. Like this video, please. Especially if you're watching right now. If you watch through this whole video, hit the like button. What did the like button do to you? You can catch us at patreon.com/Bjj Goons. Please subscribe. We have 3 different tiers. We give a lot of good content. I teach jiu-jitsu there. I'm a black belt world champion. Also, catch me at timspriggsbjj.com or timspriggsbjj at Instagram or Facebook. This has been the BJJ Goons podcast.
Peace.
Peace.